Hello and welcome to another episode of Earth911 Sustainability in Your Ear. I'm Mitch Ratcliffe, your host. Welcome. And we have another innovator interview today. We're talking with Sean Grundy, who's the CEO of Bevi. Bevi is a water and flavored water, as well as sparkling water dispenser for the office. And Bevi has launched a product that has already saved more than 200 million plastic bottles and cans in the offices where it's been installed. Sean, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good, Mitch. Thank you for having me today.
Well, you know, you've got a great product that clearly is of a lot of importance to people working in an office. Staying hydrated is critical to good productivity, and if it's flavorful and sparkling, it's even better. Now, tell me about Bevi's mission of sustainability. You launched this company with the idea of displacing plastic and aluminum waste in the office. What got you thinking about it, and when did you start it?
My co-founder and I both spent a couple of years working in environmental nonprofits. So I actually spent 3 years in an environmental nonprofit from 2008 to 2011. And then I went to business school in Boston at MIT with the idea of starting some kind of environmental business. So I generally knew that I was passionate and excited about working in fields that improved the environment, but I really wanted to approach environmentalism from a business perspective rather than a nonprofit perspective, just because I think that the impact long term is more sustainable. It's really tough to continue having a positive environmental impact when every year you have to fundraise. So I really wanted to create a business that could be self-sustaining and just from its own revenue, continue being able to positively impact the world. And then I guess also selfishly, there was some element of me saying, hey, if I could simultaneously have a for-profit level salary and nonprofit level impact, that's the best of both worlds. And my co-founder, Eliza, had a similar nonprofit background, but then went to RISD, the Rhode Island School of Design, for a master's in industrial design instead of business school. And we teamed up with one of my classmates, Frank, to start Bevi back in 2013. The mission from the start has been to eliminate single-use disposable bottles and cans. We're essentially trying to rebuild the beverage supply chain, but this time make it bottle-free. And really, part of what we saw back in 2013 and 2014 when starting out was more and more people carrying reusable bottles.
Right.
And it really went from being something you just saw on college or high school campuses to a broader phenomenon. And we thought, people are carrying reusable bottles anyway. Do they want to fill them up at a sink, or do they want to fill them up at a nicer machine with high quality purified water? And then we also realized if we could offer people a greater diversity of drinks, going beyond just plain water, but a broader diversity of drinks in a reusable bottle, would that give them more motivation to carry their reusable bottle and to use it every day? And that was really where the idea of Bevi was born.
Well, so let's talk a little about the machine and what it does. It's got a screen. It's a very attractive machine. You can pick whether you want sparkling water or still water. You can add a flavor. You can also adjust the intensity of the flavor. And I assume this is plugged into the wall and is purifying water coming out of the tap. Is that the way that this works?
Exactly. Yeah. Bevi machines connect to a wall essentially in two ways. We need an electrical outlet, so just to operate the actual machinery, and then we connect to a water tap and purify the water as it enters the machine. And then after the water's been purified, it gets chilled, and then from there, via a touchscreen interface, users can choose what beverage they want. So it could just be pure filtered water, or they could get sparkling water, or they can add various flavors. We also have some flavors that come with functional benefits. So examples of drinks would be something like all natural grapefruit soda, or lemon flavored water, or cucumber water, or even as we get fancier, drinks with like ginseng or certain vitamins built into the recipes as well.
So then when you acquire the machine as a business, you're also getting an ongoing service to provide the refills of all the flavors and the like too. Is that?
Exactly. Yeah, we chose to go to business B2B as opposed to B2C because we saw that in the home there were already a variety of products like SodaStream that let people, or like Brita, that let people either filter their own water or create flavored and sparkling water. And we saw a much broader open playing field in the office market. So we decided to start there. And we lease our machines to offices, and then there is a service contract that comes with every machine. These days, we actually go to market heavily through distributors. So more often than not, when a customer signs up for Bevi, the service actually isn't being provided by our own team. It's being provided by an office coffee service company. Right. And we work with many of those, ranging from Fortune 500s down to pretty small family businesses. But yeah, we try to keep the service pretty seamless. Like we realized early on that for Bevi to be effective and to really replace the convenience of single-use bottles and cans, we didn't want to ask our customers to do a lot of work. Right. So via a professional service contract, someone else is coming to maintain the machine, to bring new tanks of CO2 for sparkling water or new fruit concentrates for flavored waters.
Now, I was reading about the estimated savings in a busy office, and it described, being able to displace maybe 35,000 containers a year in a busy office. And you've displaced 200 million plastic bottles and cans in the landfill to date. But and it all sounds great. Now, what's the other end of the carbon footprint here? What is the impact of the machine and its manufacture and maintenance? Does this all end up being basically net zero, or are you working to approach net zero in the future?
The other elements of our supply chain are very like low carbon footprint compared to the normal bottled beverage industry. So like what everyone thinks of at first is just the packaging savings, like avoiding plastic bottles by letting people, fill up drinks in either cups or reusable bottles or whatever reusable container they have. But the other huge area of savings is really in fuel. So for our water, since we're purifying it locally, there's never any shipping of plain water. And that obviously like creates a very significant carbon footprint reduction from, say, a bottled water delivery program where like a case of Poland Spring or seltzer is getting delivered once a week. Just because we're saving fuel costs, we're saving like whatever level of the carbon footprint of like a truck's carbon footprint you'd allocate to a shipment. Right. But beyond that, most bottled beverages, even non-water beverages, like whether it's like a vitamin-based drink or an energy drink or just like traditional soda, most bottled beverages are really just 98, 99% filtered tap water and 1 to 2% other ingredients like flavorings or preservatives. And for Bevi, our approach is just ship the other stuff. So even for all our flavored drinks, we're able, rather than say ship 36 gallons of flavored waters or flavored and sparkling waters, what we do is ship one gallon container of concentrate, and then that mixes with water to produce 36 or sometimes more gallons of finished product at the point of use with locally purified water. So there are a lot of savings that way as well. One area that we've never actually like engaged a consulting firm to do a thorough life cycle analysis. Like we've done our best internally to look at life cycle studies and gauge where we stand, but it's just as a startup where we're realistically not going to pay at this point a consulting firm just to do that study for us. Sure. But our machines are pretty efficient. Like each machine is meant to last for over 5 years. They're assembled here in the United States. Where possible, we always use post-recycled components. So we really make an effort. So I'm sure like whenever the time comes where we have the resources to actually engage a consulting firm just to like just to know where we stand in a life cycle study, I'm sure results will be pretty good.
Now, you've been doing this for a while. What is the motivation for the companies that are buying into the Bevi system? Is it, do they feel, well, you mentioned earlier that, basically people aged into the workforce accustomed to using a refillable bottle or a refillable cup. And that's driving their interest in having these options. But what's driving the decision by the businesses? Is it environmental guilt? Is it a sense that they need to do this in order to keep their employees engaged? Or is it their concern about being green and sustaining the environment? Where's the motivation lie?
There are a few different motivations depending on what type of company and what type of buyer we're targeting, although there are a few standard categories. And these basically translate into our sales pitches. Like they translate into kind of what messages we're using in the sales process. So environmentalism always helps. And that can come in the mode of a foot in the door. Like for a lot of companies, there's a sustainability officer or there's a green team. And those are usually not the decision makers that ultimately decide we're going to go with this product for the office kitchen or we're going to go with bottles and cans for the office kitchen.
Yeah, the procurement
so they're not the ultimate decision maker.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's ultimately going to be in a large company, a procurement officer, or in a small company, maybe an office manager or a facilities manager or some other role. But the green team or environmental sustainability officer definitely has influence. So they'll often be a foot in the door. Like they'll often actually help get us our first meeting with the ultimate decision makers and help us build the business case internally to pitch their own colleagues. So that alone can be very, very helpful. Like when I think of some of the largest clients that we've won, and just when I think back to like my own early days, like in our first 2 years of operating, I still did a lot of sales, even though I don't really do that much anymore. And I remember a lot of the sales just came from one person, sometimes an official member of a green team or sustainability officer, but other times just like a regular person in the company who cared about sustainability. And they would basically tee us up to pitch their internal people. Like they would go find the procurement team or the facilities management team. They would help us prepare the business case. And then it was almost like a formality. They would have us come in and pitch. And basically, as long as we weren't more expensive than ordering bottles and cans, companies were typically willing to make the switch. And then the other huge factor that we discovered for companies that offered bottles and cans for free to their workforce, we learned that the office manager, who's one of the key decision makers that Bevi sells to, is typically the same person who's required to restock a refrigerator either every day or every week with bottles and cans as people go through them. So part of the office manager's job in a company that offers, say, like LaCroix or Polar Seltzer or Poland Spring, is to go check a storage room, see how much of each flavor of seltzer or water is left, carry those to the refrigerator, and then restock the refrigerator. And what we learned is that that's work that office managers generally don't enjoy doing. Like it's time consuming, it's not interesting. And we found that a big part of our pitch was actually time savings for the office manager. We'd say, whether you're spending 15 minutes a week on this or an hour a week on this, like you can just have this time back. And also because Bevi comes full service, you don't have to worry about like forgetting something, like if you forget to place an order, it's no big deal. Like we'll track online when our machines need restocking and we'll show up and replenish with the concentrates you need, or you can just call us and we'll come and deliver. Just by offering, by kind of simultaneously taking away the physical work and offering the managed service, we were able to provide we were able to provide a lot of value to that office manager in particular.
Now, the estimate that I read was that it costs about 20 cents per drink, which is definitely less than buying a can of a soda, or especially a branded soda. And obviously, as well, the savings in time and the automation that you just described. So the device is connected to the internet and is telling you when to come and service it, rather than having to have somebody check it every day. All those things are going to save time and effort. How fast can you grow, especially given how work is changing right now, in order to get to, say, 1 billion bottles fewer sent to the landfill every year? I mean, how much more growth do you need to make in order to get to those kinds of goals?
Yeah, we would need to grow about 5x to reach the point where we're consistently saving, say, 1 billion bottles a year. And that would normally, it's funny, my answer to this question would have been really different 2 months ago, prior to the COVID outbreak. We've historically always at least doubled year over year. Like we've always started the year with a business plan target of growing 100%, and then and really prioritizing growth above all else. So first, like our budgeting process would always say, okay, we have to grow 100%. Like, we know the market size is large. We know we have a first mover advantage. Let's just keep doubling, and then we'll see what else we have money to spend on, like after those costs of growth. Now it's tricky because we're essentially in a holding pattern until we know when the world will return to work. We are selling a little bit right now, primarily to hospitals or to healthcare companies that are still active, or occasionally to companies in states that just are either starting to open up again or have just never had like comparatively bad outbreaks.
Right.
But for the most part, we're in a holding pattern. That said, like once the world eventually returns to work, which I assume has to happen at some point, then we should be able to get right back into growing year over year, or right back into doubling year over year. So we're really only talking like, less than 3 years to reach that size.
That'd be a great accomplishment. And obviously this is a very challenging time where we have no visibility into what's coming, but we also all know that the environmental impact of our previous lifestyle was one that was not working. So, let's see if we can get folks to make this switch as they start to come back to work. For our listeners, where should they go check out Bevi, and how can they get maybe their company to consider using your product? Sure.
You could go to our website, and our website is bevi.co. So that's bevi.co. We couldn't afford the M for com. And you could also check out the websites of a lot of our major distributors. So if you look at the websites of Aramark or Canteen and Royal Cup and many others, and look at their sparkling water offerings or their flavored water offerings, you'll see Bevi there as well. Our team is still working every day, albeit remotely. So we have sales reps who are able to get on the phone at any time and talk through the offering, like understand more about your office and provide a quote.
Great. Well, hey, Sean, this has been fascinating, and we wish you all the luck in the world as we come back to life as we knew it. This is Sean Grundy, CEO of Bevi, and bevi.co, not .com, bevi.co is the place to check it out. Folks, this is it looks like a delicious option, and we encourage you to take a look. So this is Earth911's Sustainability in Your Ear, and I'm Mitch Ratcliffe. We will be back again soon with another innovator interview. Sean, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate your time.
Take care, everybody, and be safe out there.